Another week, another small outperformance by the couch investing portfolio. We're also now back over our initial investment, but I'm not that happy just yet because overall, since the start of this challenge, we are still trailing the S&P 500 by quite a lot. S&P 500 since the start of this challenge is up 5.30%. I'm basically flat. Now, last week I didn't really do that much. I sold a small position. I added a new one. There's been some updates with regards to Adobe, which we're going to discuss in this video as well. So overall, right now, the 14 positions, that includes cash, 6.13% in cash. Nothing much has changed other than the fact that I did sell the Palo Alto Network position. Only 10 shares sold for a return of 2.83%. Not because I'm bearish on the company, just because it is a small position. Some other opportunities were a bit better. I'm still studying the whole cybersecurity industry. Lots of players, lots of growth, lots of potential. I might be revisiting this later on. Then I finally added Palantir to the portfolio. As you can see, I'm currently down around 5% because I bought, and then we've got a, let's say, bearish note that came out. My timing is always impeccable, but overall, I don't really care that much. I only bought 150 shares. As you can see, it's the 10th position in the portfolio, only $3,600. Why is it so small? It's a starter position for the portfolio here. I will be accumulating accordingly. Now, what actually happened? Well, last week we've got this note that came out. Palantir dips after Monet's cuts rating to sell on valuation. By the way, if you enjoy this type of videos, do leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if not. We really appreciate that. We're well on our way to reach 40,000 subscribers, much faster than I initially expected. So really, thank you very much for all the support, and do check out the links down in the description as well. Right now, there are lots of sales with regards to Seeking Alpha, Great Spring Sale. The Motley Fool has a sale as well. So do check all of those things out, and Koifin as well. It's the website we always use here on the channel to look at valuation, growth rates, etc., etc. A lot of you did love it, so please do check them out. You're always getting a better price than if you go straight to the website. Plus, you're helping me, so double thanks. So, Palantir, the stock fell 2%, actually the stock fell 5% last week because of this note. Sell rating from neutral, citing the company's rich valuation. The firm has set a $20 price target on the stock. To be honest, not that bad, right? $20, I mean, if it does fall, great. I have an opportunity to add even more. So the analyst said that on the back of an unprecedented generative AI hype cycle, Palantir surged in 2023, and the stock's upward trajectory has continued in 2024, leaving the company with what they view as an egregiously rich valuation. First of all, it's true that in 2023, before we saw GAAP net income and maybe a reacceleration of revenue, it's true that the stock did go up quite fast because of AI hype. But the majority of the jump that we've seen lately is because of the financials, is because the company is becoming more and more profitable, and we're seeing a reacceleration in growth with regards to the commercial side. Now, this note talks about the government side of things. So in Monet's view, Palantir, which offers software platforms for the intelligence community, is well positioned to benefit from the long-term AI trend and can capitalize on volatile geopolitics. However, the analyst thinks that revenue from government-related contracts has proven lumpy, execution spotty, and valuation excessive, and believe the darkest days of this economic downturn are ahead. Now, we've spoken about the government side of things. We know that this is usually something that takes a while, right? The budget needs to be approved by the government, and then it flows all the way back down to the companies. Of course, US government, huge defense budget, but just a small fraction of that budget does go towards software. It is in my opinion, and in Alex Karp's and Palantir's opinion, that percent will just grow for the years and years to come. And by the way, if we go back here to the latest earnings call, they talk here about the government side of things, the US government business. On the strength of our work on the ground and our software that actually works, we expect reacceleration of our US government business in 2024. Conventional wisdom is that government acquisitions are slow, and then you need to invest in the programs that the government is buying in a 2 to 3 year acquisition cycle. So, Who do we believe? Analysts or the company? Analysts or the company? You tell me. That's not all. They're making it way easier for private companies, private defense companies to work with the government. They talk here about the Palantir's government web services offering so compelling. $100 billion has been invested by venture capitalists into defense tech since 2021. These companies want to compete on quality, not beating back bureaucracy. Government web services creates a capital and time efficient way to unlock market access for new entrants and incumbents alike, which they talked about here in September of 2023. I link it down in the description below. They talk here about Palantir Government Web Services, Apollo, FedStart, how that is helping smaller up-and-coming startup, up-and-coming companies, even like Lockheed Martin or Anduril, go and work faster with the government for a fraction of time and a fraction of the cost. Then more recently, we've got an official announcement here on Palantir's website. So Palantir announced that it was selected by the Defense Information System Agency to deliver an electromagnetic battle management joint decision support, one heck of a name, prototype. This effort will provide the Department of Defense with a cutting-edge software capability to support joint electromagnetic spectrum operations. The award of prototype Other Transaction Authority, man, these names are something else. The agreement is worth $9.8 million over 12 months. So mix those announcements, mix those comments from the management during the earnings call, plus the Titan contract. I mean, it's pretty clear that the government side of the business, we are going to see some reacceleration throughout the year. Remember, this is also an election year, so yeah, expect a lot of volatility. But overall, for the long run, the government side of the business is going to be of extreme importance for Palantir. Some even believe it can be 50% of the business. Moving on to another company that took a small hit last week, and that's Intel. Intel right now I have 100 shares in the portfolio, 4.52% of the portfolio, up 6.15% currently. So last week, there was this announcement with regards to a China ban. So Intel could lose as much as $1.5 billion in sales due to China ban. AMD less, according to an analyst here at Bernstein. So China last week said that they might ban or they will ban purchases of Intel and AMD chips for government use. That could be sizable top-line hit to the two semiconductor companies, but perhaps not as much as some believe. We've heard this already with regards to Apple, when I think late last year or something like that, people in the government could not be using iPhones anymore. On a nominal basis, Intel had roughly 27% of its sales in China in 2023, while AMD had roughly 15%. However, government purchases were much smaller than that, approximately 10% or so. As such, Intel could see a revenue impact between $1 to $1.5 billion, while AMD could lose a few $100 million. That's why they rate Intel and AMD as market perform and has price targets of $42 and $140. $42 much closer to what Intel is trading at today. AMD is trading at $185. They have a price target of $140. At $140, things could get quite interesting. Putting it all together, we estimate very roughly that a total cessation of China governmental purchases of AMD and Intel CPUs might impact revenues by low single digits, but with a bigger earnings impact for Intel. Remains to be seen. Remember, Intel's guidance for Q1 was extremely weak. Maybe they've taken this into consideration, maybe not, I don't know, but already expect a weak Q1 for Intel. Let's see what they project for the second half of this year. Up next, we have to talk a little bit about Adobe. Adobe, I have 20 shares here, 10% of the portfolio. I'm currently down around 3% or so. So Adobe last week had their Adobe Summit event where they showcased new AI capabilities. More interesting here, AI factory for advertisers. Because people hear about Adobe, they only think about Photoshop or Premiere Pro. While it's true that that's one of their main offerings, they're doing much more than that. And just because you have things like ChatGPT or Sora does not mean that a company like Adobe will suddenly go out of business. No, actually, it complements their business. Because you have Sora, what you need to do afterwards? You will still need to edit, whether it's color grading, color correction, sound editing, stuff like that. where will you do that? In ChatGPT, it doesn't work. You'll still use something like Adobe. Plus, there is Adobe Acrobat, PDFs, digital signings, you have marketing tools, which we're going to talk here right now. So they talk here about the new Gen Studio applications that was introduced alongside an AI assistant for Adobe Experience and updates around Adobe's Firefly generative AI model. Adobe Firefly is basically the Mid-Journey for Adobe. So with regards to the Gen Studio, that effectively serves as a centralized hub for promotional campaigns, providing things like brand kits, copy guidance, and pre-approved assets alongside a bunch of generative AI powered tools that can generate backgrounds and ensure the overall tone remains on brand. These tools also allow users to quickly create ads for emails and social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Gen Studio will then show users which attributes, generated assets, and campaigns are performing best, which Adobe suggests can then be used to direct AI prompts for other campaigns. And by the way, one huge advantage that Adobe has is that Adobe works with a lot of officially licensed content, whether it's imaging, video, sounds, you name it, because the threat here or the fear when using AI models, AI generated models, pictures, videos, etc., is that one, they're fake, and two, you're stealing content from someone else. With Adobe, you can rest assured that everything you're using is legally allowed to be used. Now I can go on and talk about Adobe, but I did make a specific Adobe video just to talk about that company. That video will be in the top right corner. Don't forget, they announced a new $25 billion share buyback program. I don't know when they're going to buy back their shares, how long that period will last, but it is a big sum, which definitely benefits the shareholders. Again, I do still think that the most important part here that we're heading into right now with this new age of AI is the winners will be the ones that have the distribution. And I do still think that Adobe has quite the distribution. And so to conclude, as for the rest here, Snowflake, nothing to add, Apple, dLocal, Funko, Rocket Lab, Appcelera, Google, Tesla, PayPal, and SoFi. I haven't touched those positions last week. No big news to talk about in this video. I did talk about SoFi and Tesla in another video. Those will be obviously available on the channel. But other than that, that's the portfolio right now. We're back over our initial investment, which I'm pretty happy. Finally, we had a little bit of a struggle, but again, short-term pain for long-term gains is basically the mantra here. Now, of course, with Tesla being the number one position in the portfolio and production and delivery numbers coming up, I think Tuesday morning, yes, I am expecting quite a volatile couple of days. But hey, if it dips a lot, great, buying opportunity. I do still think that the earnings call will provide way more information. We'll just have to wait, I think, a month or so from now. So that will be it for this video. Of course, do share your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do check out all the links as well. Some great promotions are happening right now. So do take advantage out of that. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.